Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Yellowbird Hotline Podcast, the podcast where your favorite hot sauce company answers the biggest questions about food, whether or not we're qualified to. Guys, are we qualified to?
Totally.
This time,
Yeah, I feel qualified today.
Yeah, I feel qualified today as well. I just woke up.
We all went to college.
Did we?
we've driven by a college.
We're familiar with the concept.
We've
I
all
walked through the campus of a couple colleges.
We've all lived in the same town as a college at some point. So we're going to answer the big questions today. You can call us. You can answer these questions. Ask your own question by calling or texting 855-700-BIRD. That's 855-700-BIRD. Or you can just text us to say, hey, you guys are awesome, or hey, your mustache looks stupid.
Oh, who would say
That's
that?
mean.
That's mean-spirited.
How would they know that?
I mean,
Are you telling me there's video content about this as well that they can check out?
Yeah,
Oh my
you guys
God,
can
there
you guys can
totally
catch it on
is.
YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And I've never said that you should like and review us, but you should do that if it's
Like, subscribe.
like and subscribe.
Hey,
Hit
guys,
that,
smash that bell.
smash that button, like and subscribe. We'll
Where's
be
the
here.
subscribe button? Is it this side or that side?
If I got my bases covered, if I just
Subscribe!
do like and subscribe.
I think we all just vogue.
There's a button
pointing in the right
somewhere.
direction.
There's a button for subscribing.
Kelsey, you're not voguing.
I think they're gonna figure it out. I think it's too much direction at this point.
I think Kelsey's hip enough to do the anti-Vogue. She's anti-voguing right
anti-Vogue.
now.
Oh,
The
no, I
anti-Vogue
vogue-
is just...
I vogue really well. I just didn't want to, that wasn't the time and place right now.
All right.
Yeah. I feel-
RuPaul play.
Next week.
Maybe the time and place is when you answer this question today.
Well, the format of season 2 is that we're kind of taking turns asking the biggest pressing food related questions and then answering them in a random order. And up today is Daniel. Daniel's got our question for today. So without further ado, let's kick it over to Daniel because I am excited about this question.
I'm just excited to hear all y'all's answers here. And I'm excited to hear what the listeners think because we all love movies. We all love food. Food and movies go together. What is, in your opinion, the best movie food scene, specifically a meal scene? Like what is your favorite movie meal of all time and why?
Yeah, it's a great question. When you asked this question, I realized how many meal scenes there are in movies. Like every movie's got at least one. So it's not just about picking out your favorite movie, picking out that favorite meal scene. Before we started the podcast, I think it sounds like everybody has like at least 3 answers. Is that right?
I think I interpreted meal as also food. So
Okay.
it's not necessarily a sit down.
I also interpreted it a little loosely. So I
interpreted it very loosely.
Too loose.
Soup's loose.
I randomized.
Footloose.
I randomized our order that we're going to go in today, and who's up first? Aaron. Let's
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay.
She's like,
so-
okay, the prom buffet from Footloose.
She has 7
Well-
items to discuss.
I mean, as far as I remember, I don't know if it was a buffet. I don't remember if it was a buffet, but I know it was a dinner, a fancy dinner.
Mm.
Actually, I'm going to save that one for, can I do 2 of them? I won't do all 3. Can I just at least do 2? Let's do 2. Okay. So first one, not my number one, is from Snatch.
Okay.
When they're talking Turkish, he's talking and he's like, Charlie, how them sausages looking? 2 minutes, Turkish. And then
when they're outside the trailer.
They're
You
talking
said
about
2
getting
minutes, 3 minutes ago.
They're talking about getting a new caravan. And then he's like, Charlie, how them sausages looking? 5 minutes, Turkish. He said 2 minutes, 5 minutes ago. Okay, so that one, number 1. That's not my number 1. That's my number 2. My number 1.
Number 1 is my number 2.
Number 1 is the very emotional scene at the end of Dirty Dancing when they're all sitting, they're having dinner at fancy tables, and they get out and they do the dance, and everybody gets up and they dance too, and it's the part of the song when they do the the fly thing.
Is that the Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner?
That is the Time of My Life song.
Yeah, Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner.
Well, that was earlier that he said that because he had to stand
that
up
was
for her.
earlier. It wasn't the same scene, but it's the fly scene.
It's such a good,
Wait, I
such a
thought
good
that's
summer
the end of the
movie.
scene. That's when he comes in and she's sitting at the table with her parents, and he walks up and she's just like,
oh, you're right. It's the very beginning of that scene. It's before
comes up and he goes.
Could have
"No,
also
yeah,
picked
baby."
the watermelon that she carried a watermelon.
True.
Dude, the guy carrying like 3 watermelons, he opens the door with his butt cheeks. I really love that scene from
Impressive,
Dirty
too.
Dancing.
A lot of good food moments in Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's a good one.
So that's my 2. I did have one more that I don't know. It's okay. I'll say it. Fine. I'll say it. Okay. Bohemian Rhapsody, when they're in the car in Wayne's World and they're singing Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm pretty sure that they had fast food in the car with them, right?
They
They're
definitely had
eating
Red
fast
Rock
food,
licorice.
and they turned
It's
on the radio.
snacks.
Snacks.
They got snacks. That's loose, but
Exactly. It's a loose interpretation, but it's still
There was food present.
there was
food
food
present.
present, and they were jamming out.
Yeah.
And
That's
Wayne and
iconic.
Garth were the kind of guys who would make a meal out of licorice.
That's true.
True. Like maybe dip it in some coffee or something.
I don't know if they were coffee guys.
Oh, they were
Well, and
Pepsi.
they were like, I think they were headed to like the
They
fast
were
food
Pepsi
place.
They were
guys.
Pepsi.
Because
that
they
whole
saw
thing about, like-
Stacy afterwards, and they were like,
Stacy, and that was another favorite part. Why would you get me a gun rack? I don't even own a gun,
A
much
gun.
less
Let
many
alone
guns
a
that
rack.
would necessitate
Necessitate.
a gun rack.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
those are
Okay.
Aaron's 3. Recap the 3
Top
for us.
3.
Yeah.
Okay,
recap
in
them.
order of 1. Number 1, Dirty Dancing, the scene at the end of the movie. Number 2, Snatch, the sausages. And number 3, Wayne's World, when they're in the car, snacking and jamming out.
Okay. Good one.
Excellent.
Good
No,
ones.
number two today, we have Katie.
Oh, wow.
Hey, you feel ready?
When you don't
I feel like I
know, you
get
got to be
picked
ready.
Early, I know. It's. I think I'm ready. Well, I don't know. Should I start with my number 1 or work my way up?
Why don't you work your way backwards to your favorite one?
Okay.
Ooh, count it down.
So
Yeah,
I
count it
would
down.
say
Count it down.
Hook made its way onto my.
That was on my list too.
Sorry, that's why I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad I didn't go last year
Yep.
because I thought I might.
Bangarang, Peter.
Yeah.
Way.
That's a great
You're
scene.
doing it, Peter. Yeah, it's like what every kid imagines as like the perfect food fight too, with like just the colorful like icing thrown, and it's just all
I
around.
just scratched that off my list.
Classic.
I knew that had to be on someone's list. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like a big sleepover movie or a big like bus ride movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I learned to say rude, crude, lewd, dude, I was like, whoa.
I feel like that's what we should use as vocal warm-ups before we go to hot sauce
Yeah.
shows.
What's a paramecium?
Okay, so that was
Okay.
3. That was 3 for you.
Number 2 would probably be Beauty and the Beast because.
Damn
I'm a
it! You're
sucker
taking
for-
my whole list. You
You're
are
kidding.
literally taking my
You're
list in
kidding.
order.
Wow, it's like you're the same person.
Beauty and the Beast, be our guest. I'm a
Yep.
sucker for a good musical, and Lumiere really kills it, nails it on the head.
Mrs. Potts does too. She's also
She does
Mrs.
too.
Potts
Yeah,
kills it.
She does
dishes.
work. Yeah.
Try the gray
Mhm.
stuff. It's,
It's
delicious.
Delicious. Don't
Don't
believe me.
Ask the dishes. Yeah,
Bosworth
it's
is just
iconic.
there. Bosworth just wants to ruin the party, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Cogsworth? The
Bos-
clock?
Wait, no, Bosworth. Who's the candlestick?
Lumiere.
Lumiere. That's right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Number 1.
Ugh,
You guys,
party
I-
pooper.
I know this might be cliche, but I still love it when Harry met Sally in the diner.
Yep.
I'll have what she's having. I was hoping someone would say that.
It's
I just added that as my backup when you removed Be My Guest.
you're kidding.
I could
my
not be.
guys.
I could not.
You're going
be
too mainstream
more
with your
frustrated.
backups, but
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm. You know what? I'm gonna spoil this. I'm last on the list, and I am scared now because I think I'm panicking.
I'm
you
glad
should
I
be.
went
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also when Harry Met Sally, she's like really particular about how she orders too.
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's another great food.
I think that's the number one thing in that scene, aside from like the
You
fake
think
orgasm.
that's the number one thing?
That's the thing in that scene, is how particular she is about her orders.
Well, and I don't remember if it's in that scene or if it's in a later scene, but when Billy Crystal is giving her like a Hungarian lesson, waiter, there's too much pepper in my paprikash. Pepper. Please don't repeat. I like that whole scene. It always plays in my brain.
I think that's when they're in a museum or something.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
Echoing.
when they're walking through the museum.
Please to repeat.
I haven't seen that movie like 200 times.
It holds
I have
up.
a handful
does.
of movies that I don't think anybody else has seen, so I'm just not going to mention them.
I felt pretty sure that when Harry Met Sally was going to be on somebody's.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be the only one with Beauty and the Beast, though. I really didn't think that would be a.
Yeah,
That's
that came
that's
out
a
of like, the
classic.
side hatch, man. I did not expect that one either.
Really?
Katie.
That was like the first one that I thought
Animation.
about.
That's probably
Yeah.
like the best animated food. I don't know.
Because the whole scene is about the feast.
Yes.
Yeah. And everything can sing and dance, so you get dinner and a show.
Yeah.
After all, this is France.
Dinner is a show. 10 points,
I
Kelsey.
know.
Oh.
You're
I know
the only
all
one, you're
the
the only one
words
with
to that
points on the
song,
board right now.
and I
Prove
like
it.
to blame it. Well, I like to blame it on the fact that when I was in middle school, one of our pop show themes was Disney, and so that was obviously the opening number. But I think I probably knew all the words before I had to sing it. And like,
Was the finale Never Had a Friend Like Me?
no, it
Yep.
should have been. I don't think we had enough parade energy for that.
Yeah. And who was your show choir teacher? I have. I
Imagine,
have
but like,
notes.
imagine be our guest in like 5-part middle school harmony and
Don't
just
want
go
it.
to that place in your head.
Sounds great.
I love it. I think that was the best part of
That's when you, like-
middle school for me.
The best
try
part
and
of middle
find that
school
tape.
choir is that everybody could have a unison part and still be doing some kind of weird harmony.
Yeah.
Kind of in and out.
Y'all must have had terrible choir teachers.
It's not about the choir teacher when you're in middle school. It's just you're still learning how to talk. You're still learning how to like.
Well,
live
boys
in your
are like,
vocal
I don't
cords.
know.
Yeah, their voices
The
are
Humble,
Humble
Humble
one-
It's a mess.
Humble won
The
the show choir in Texas. Humble Middle School won. So I don't know.
Well.
Humble brag there. Humble brag.
Well, we may not have all gone to college, but one of us at least went to middle school.
I
And
don't
one of
think
us
my
has seen Beauty and the
school
Beast.
even had a show choir.
Wow.
I
What
know.
a
travesty.
Footloose Town.
Cave
No
Creek,
singing, no
Arizona.
Okay, number three, answering our favorite meal scenes in films is Kelsey Manning.
Hey. Well, I also have 3. 'Cause I feel like I'm just gonna take
It's
all
fine.
of your material.
No, you're
George.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
George,
pick
you're
all
in
of
trouble,
mine.
man.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get mine.
2
let
of
me get
mine are similar. So I'll start with the first one, which is the armadillo shaped groom's cake in Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Nothing like a good piece
Oh
of
my
ass.
gosh.
Yes, exactly. And so Weezer's like cutting it up, and Drum comes over, and they're like in a fight, and so she serves him the tail piece, and he says, "Yeah, nothing like a good piece of ass."
I have to imagine that Tom Skerritt still looks exactly the same.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's like also one of those things where that is like such a good sight gag of the cake being red velvet and it being like a gray armadillo, and she says looks like an autopsy.
Yes.
It's just and that was before cake culture. And then
Yeah.
I was like rewatching that scene because I was trying to remember like all the good lines, and like later on Weezer meets the woman who made the cake, and she's like, "Oh, you do this? Is it hard?" And she's like, "No, it just takes a lot of patience." And so she said, "Do you do only armadillos?" And she said, "I can do anything except for snakes. I just don't have the counter space." It's just, beautiful. So
Isn't
then
that, don't they have some
Steel
special barbecue?
Magnolias.
Wait, no, that's a different movie. I'm thinking of a different movie.
you have a different movie. No.
Thinking of Fried
Save it,
Green
man.
Tomatoes.
So was that your number 3? Are you
Yeah.
going from?
That's my number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
My number 2 is also a cake, and it is the bundt cake from My Big Fat Greek
A
Wedding.
boon.
Boom.
A boon.
Bunch.
So that's, visual refresher for you. That's where the Portocalos family is meeting the Miller family, and they have, differences of desserts, and the Millers give them a bunch and they don't know what to do with it. They're like, oh, it's a cake. And she says, why is there a hole in this cake? And then later on they present the bunt to them, and Maria has put a plant in it. And they like don't understand a bundt cake. And every time you see a bundt cake, you got to make that joke. Otherwise, what are you doing? I have met several friends that way. I guess I'm just around a lot of bundt cakes, but classic, great visual humor, great audible humor, 10 out of 10. And then my number one is the "What's Tater's Precious" scene from Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, wherein
that's a great poll.
Yeah, you guys look like you're really big LOTR heads. So let's remind all of us. That's when Sam and Frodo are obviously on the way to Mount Doom to destroy the ring. They're hungry. All they've had is Limba's bread from the elves. And so they're with Gollum, and Gollum goes off and kills some rabbits, and he's trying to like eat them raw. And they're like, sick. Sam is like, let me prepare a nice stew. And so he prepares the stew with potatoes. And like Gollum says, what's Tater's precious? And Sam's like, potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Wait, can you do it in Gollum's voice?
do the voice.
I think I got close. Like, what's
again.
Tater's precious?
Yes. Podcast complete.
And and you feel bad
to get
for
your
Gollum.
Questions answered in Gollum's voice by Kelsey.
Well,
you can just call it 800.
That's by special request, But it forever, it changes. I think it humanizes Gollum that he doesn't even know what a potato is. So makes you feel worse.
It's adorable. And also, I do not remember that scene. So now I feel like I have to rewatch that whole movie.
Potatoes.
And I'm okay with it because I love it. It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth the 3 hours just to enjoy a good 30 seconds.
But I feel like I've missed out because now I don't have a reference to...
As a pillar of the LordOfTheRings.net community in 7th grade, I would say I'm so proud to share this with you that you can enjoy it. But
Thank you.
That's great. That's a great list. And you didn't take anything off of my backups here.
I tried
to go neat.
Although
nobody's taken
my number one yet. Although I'm worried as we go to.
There's still time.
There's still time for Daniel to take it. As we move over to Daniel Thompson.
How many do you have, Daniel?
I mean, I posed this question to George, and then I was like, I immediately regretted it because I was like, oh man, there are too many. But I think the two that really stick with me the most. One is from, I don't even know what language it's in. It's like this Dutch movie called Babette's Feast. And
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's cool, right? But I struggled through like 2.5 hours of subtitles until you finally get to the feast at the very end. And it's totally worth it. Like the character Babette is, no one knows that she's a fancy French chef. She lives on this weird island where they speak a weird language. And anyway, everyone's like, yeah, you boil everything. How do you make food? Yeah, you boil it and then you mash it. And so like after, a decade of living with these folks, she puts on this huge feast. Like for some reason in the back, there's a turtle just sitting in a pot. You're like, okay, what's going on here? There's this big important like dignitary who comes to visit the town, and they do a huge feast for them, and Babette cooks all of it. And it's amazing. And everyone goes, wow, Babette, we didn't know. And that's really the end of it. But it's really like the whole scene of it is really gorgeous because it's a period piece. So like you see her in the back, like it's her and a couple of like assistants making this massive meal, and just you see all the work that goes into it. And it's Babette's Feast. I like that one. One, because it's beautiful, but two, I had so much emotional energy tied up in the end of it to getting to that feast. Like I'm watching this movie.
You made it.
Like again, struggling until we finally get to the meal scene. I'm like, we did it. It felt like such an accomplishment. It's like climbing a mountain.
Getting to the end of a movie.
I'm not sure if I'm convinced I want to watch it after.
I mean,
hearing all of that, I'm still not quite sure.
I'm not gonna lie. You're not missing anything by
end.
not watching the movie. There's a lot of great movies. It's really a beautiful movie. But the feast scene at the very end is really great. But my favorite, like the scene that I go back to over and over and over again. Yep, it's the prison dinner scene from Goodfellas. When Ray Liotta is talking about when it's like inside.
One of the best.
Oh, dude, it was so great. We had a whole system for dinners. Dinners was a big deal, and inside or whatever, he goes like through the whole thing. Like, Paulie did the sauce, and he had this awesome system where he would take a razor blade and cut the garlic so thin that it turned to liquid. Yeah, and then whatever his face, did the tomato sauce, and Vinny did the steaks, and anyway, I love that scene. And
nice
you don't even actually watch them eating, but you watch them cooking the meal and the banter between all of them. It's so masterfully done. And there's always a part in there that gets me because Ray Liotta is talking about how being in prison wasn't that bad. Like they make it look like summer camp. Like, it wasn't that bad. The only thing I missed, and you always think he's gonna say, was like his wife and kids. Oh no, he's like, the only thing I missed was Jimmy, because he was doing his time upstate. And like, this is such a boys club. Anyway.
Ray Liotta. Can I just thought of another one, and I don't like it.
Because I'm trying to make life as hard as possible.
No, you're not allowed to come up with another one because.
Oh no, I was just going to comment. I was just going to comment on Ray Liotta, but I'll let you go.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah,
it's a good list, Daniel.
But if anybody knows what I'm going to say, just.
I don't know. Is Goodfellas better than The Godfather?
Are we going to do that on this podcast?
Some might agree.
Listen,
I've never seen Goodfellas.
What?
Really? Oh, wow.
You
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Me and Katie have watched exactly the same movies.
That's why you have the same list. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised that my number one didn't make it into anybody's, and I think that might be because it's kind of maybe not a meal scene, but I'll do my top three as edited on the fly. During this podcast. So I'm going to put number three. So my number three is going to be some spoilers for fried green tomatoes, but the barbecue at the end of fried green tomatoes, because
the sauce, man.
Yeah. Because is Frank Bennett the barbecue they're eating? They never say, but yeah, he's definitely the barbecue.
Yes, he is.
Spoilers for fried green tomatoes.
Also, shout out to Whistle Stop
movie.
Cafe and Bessemer.
Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie as well. So and my number two, which again I'm surprised that nobody picked this one, is the diner scene from Pulp Fiction. Gotta be one of the top diner scenes of all time.
Wait, aren't there multiple diner scenes in Pulp Fiction?
There are, but I'm talking about
which one?
I'm talking about the one with Winston.
Hey,
and,
George,
what?
Which wallet is yours?
Yeah, what is this bad motherfucker?
Bad motherfucker.
I'm talking about the one where they're sitting there and Jules. That's what is. That's what
a man in Amsterdam.
But he's talking about how he doesn't eat pork. He doesn't eat filthy animals. He's like, I don't eat a pig. A pig is a filthy animal. What about a dog? Man, dogs eat their own shit. I'm really nailing it, I'm sure. But like,
I feel like I'm there.
That scene between them in the diner, I think has to be one of the greatest diner scenes of all time. And then also the Honey Bunny robbing the diner.
That's the one. That's the one I think of immediately is whenever they shoot him up. Yeah.
Listen here, Ringo.
Yeah, but Pulp
be
Fiction,
cool, Honey Bunny. Be cool.
Pulp Fiction, like king of the diner scenes.
I mean, I would submit that because Reservoir Dogs opens with a diner scene as well.
They do.
I think
that's the one I was thinking of too, where they're drinking coffee and they're sitting at the table.
And I would submit that that's a better diner scene. Just
that's a great diner scene.
He gives his whole like interpretation of Like a Virgin by Madonna.
Yep.
And I'm like
well, you could also
when I watched that, I was blown away. I was like 14.
But they were just drinking coffee, right? That was just a coffee scene. But I mean,
you could also put
coffee a meal.
You could also put John Travolta and Uma Thurman's diner scene where they're sitting in the little car.
That's what I assumed you were going to pick. Yeah.
Well, that's it. So I don't like that one as good as
Mia Wallace launched
is it because
1,000 lazy Halloween costumes. Okay.
Too overdone? Is that
well, no, I don't think
it's
too overdone.
Overused?
I just really like the, I don't need pig, man. Pig is a filthy animal. Something about that scene. Just I like that scene. My number two.
They also eat a Big Kahuna burger.
Yeah,
yeah, they do.
A tasty burger.
But a lot of great food.
A Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That whole movie is just about eating food in diners.
It is.
So,
drugs.
But my number one food scene of all time, one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll just give you the line. I could eat 50 eggs.
Oh, Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
Cool Hand Luke.
Such a good
And
movie. Cool Hand
also,
Luke.
that will make you sick. Don't ever do that.
Eating 50 eggs? I would hope so.
Well, that's the scene like makes you feel physical pain when you watch it. Katie's looking very confused.
Cool Hand Luke. It's a great movie.
We haven't seen all the same movies because
No,
I
it's
am
not.
42 years older than Katie. And there's a movie called Cool Hand Luke from 1907, I believe.
The first movie ever made.
First movie ever made.
In black and white.
They shoot Paul Newman to the moon.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a
he made his
great
own
movie.
Salad dressings.
It's a great movie. Yeah. That movie sold
Yeah.
some salad dressings.
I was gonna say, what Newman's Own do you feel like would pair the best with like a hard-boiled egg?
Oh, Fig
Oh.
Newman's. Duh.
I don't really know the different Newman's Own dressings.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude, Fig Newman's are I think it was everything.
But the premise of that scene, for those who haven't seen Cool Hand Luke, is that
Me.
Luke ends up in he ends up in the slammer,
In the clank.
but it's like an old time prison. It's like a bunch of guys in a
The
bunkhouse.
work camp.
Yeah. So it's not like guys behind prison bars. It's a bunch of guys in like a work camp in a bunkhouse, and they go out and like dig ditches during the day and whatever.
Like holes. That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Dig it up. Oh,
and
oh.
Luke's whole thing is that he kind of like entertains everybody. Like he's just like he is the hope for all these guys. And so they have this scene where he like claims that he could eat 50 eggs, and it's like one of the big scenes of the movie where like
Why'd
all
you
the
have to go and say 50?
yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was perfect. But he eats 50 eggs, and everybody's like got all this money riding on it, and it's like the most exciting thing that's like happened in these guys' lives in a long time.
Mm.
And then at the end of the
Awesome.
scene, they like he's laying there on the table, shirt off,
Just full of eggs.
full of eggs.
Oh,
And
it makes
everybody
me
just
sick to
leaves
think
him there.
about.
Everybody's just like, oh, he ate all these eggs. That was crazy. And then they all walk off, and he's just like laying there on the table, and it's his like Christ tableau, he's like on the
So
wooden
symbolic.
table, like in his like white cotton shorts, like just kind of draped out, doing the
Just egged out.
Wow.
just egged out.
I hate these eggs for your sins.
Yeah, essentially he's like that's the thing, is that like he sacrificed his body for all of these guys to like have a little bit of joy in their lives.
That's deep.
It's real deep,
That gets deep.
super deep.
Wait, is that your
Mhm.
number 2?
No, that's my
That
number
was
one.
number one.
Oh, that's your
Oh,
number 1.
It was
Yeah, so
Fried
you
Green
had,
Tomatoes, Pulp Fiction, and then Cool Hand Luke.
yeah, that's good. That's a good
Man.
list. That's a
Kelsey,
good
I'm
list.
surprised Matilda didn't make it on your list.
Oh my
Your
God.
cake
I
What
wasn't
a
a
great
big Matilda
cake one.
head. I
Bruce.
didn't have
I
it on
love Bruce.
VHS.
Hmm.
So
Oh, and the other one. Okay, I have just such a long list. What about Beetlejuice?
man, that's a good one,
Beetlejuice
too.
Oh,
is
Mr.
good.
Dolly Man, Dolly me banana.
I was thinking about the
didn't know you could
squeezy
calypso.
cheese from a Goofy movie, the squeezy cheese.
Oh my God,
That
was in
looks
the.
so
Oh wait,
good.
and I was thinking of Pauly Shore and was in the juice. Yeah.
Nice.
No.
I don't know that one.
A lot of
I-
movies have a lot of food scenes. That's what I've
They
learned
do.
from this podcast.
Yeah.
Everything revolves around
Name a
food.
movie that doesn't have a food scene.
I was also surprised no one said Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11 because he's eating in every scene.
Okay, so I was gonna bring up not
That was
Ocean's
on my
11,
list.
but another Brian Koppelman. Hello, Brian Koppelman. Rounders with the Oreos at the poker table. Oh my God, such a good scene. I mean, just listen,
Malkovich, man.
twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of great food scenes. Daniel, what a provocative question.
So
Great.
provocative.
And you know what I like the most about this question? I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you that we have specifically this like lane of like we're doing food questions, but you asked a food question in a way that lets us talk about movies that we like. So it's kind of cheating, but it's
Talk
not.
to me about food without talking to me about food.
Yeah.
But also go for Everett, Aaron.
Yes. I sent him that. And then also Ray Liotta, I have to bring it back because I said earlier. Okay, Silence of the Lambs, Ray Liotta eating his brain.
Okay.
Anybody? I can't watch Ray Liotta anymore after I saw that movie. I can't watch Ray Liotta because
that's a meal scene.
I was gonna say, is that a meal scene?
Hannibal.
Who are we to declare?
Hannibal, he's eating his brain.
Well,
like, he literally has it, and it just he puts it in a Tupperware, and he just like eats it.
Well, you gotta put it.
Exactly. That was me. I was like, I can never watch Ray Liotta ever again.
You gotta put it in Tupperware, though.
Makes me sick. Ray Liotta makes me sick.
Otherwise, it dries out.
I've never been able to use Tupperware since.
Yeah.
But
just because we're men doesn't mean we're cavemen. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I think that's good. We banged it out. This is gonna be our shortest podcast episode. Maybe.
I mean, if we want to keep going, I got more.
Karen's got like 10 more on her list.
No, I think that top three is good for everybody. We got some Lord of the Rings in there. Some Disney in there.
Definitely gonna rewatch that.
Yeah, same. I haven't seen that in a while.
There's actually a lot of food scenes I could have pulled from, but that's for another podcast another time.
That's the best thing about we can do V2 next season.
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that we're doing seasons.
We're doing seasons.
We're doing seasons, guys. Who knew?
It's on purpose.
When are we halfway through the season? I'll never tell.
Seasons of sauce.
Yeah.
Seasons of love.
Well, I think let's put a pin in it there, guys. Let's guys and gals and others, make sure you call us or text us. Tell us your favorite food scene from a movie. If there's anything major we left out, and I'm sure that there is, because there is awesome food scenes in like a bunch of movies. And but don't tell us TV scenes unless it's a made-for-TV movie. Give us movies.
Gotta put a stipulation on that.
Don't you come at me with Lonesome Dove. All right.
Well, I was thinking one of the first things I thought about was Dexter, because like
he's always eating.
He's eating in every
always,
scene.
Yeah.
He's got like a Cuban sandwich in every scene.
I was thinking of The Sopranos too, just cannolis and stuff. I don't know. They're always eating too.
Yeah. But call us, text us, 855-700-BIRD. That's 855-700-BIRD. You can also enter that number at checkout at yellowbirdfoods.com for 20% off your next order. It blows my mind.
This is crazy.
It's crazy. It's gonna blow yours too.
20%.
Until next time, everybody, make sure you take care of each other, hug your dogs, hug your cats, and stay spicy out there. Bye-bye.
Bye.